Party preparations. Olivia Rodriguez surveyed her apartment with critical eyes, mentally checking off items from her extensive planning list. Fairy lights twinkled from every corner, creating a warm glow that complemented the elegant gold and cream decorations. A table laden with carefully selected appetizers stood ready, alongside a bar stocked with everyone's favorite drinks. Her 30th birthday celebration had been in the works for months, and everything needed to be perfect. "The cake should be here in 30 minutes, said Daniela, Olivia's best friend since college, as she adjusted a slightly crooked banner. "And I double-checked with the caterers about Rachel's gluten allergy." Olivia smiled gratefully. "What would I do without you? Probably be drowning in unfolded napkins right about now." "Please," Daniela laughed. "You're the most organized person I know. This party would run smoothly, even if I hadn't helped." Olivia's phone buzzed with a text from Julian, her boyfriend of 4 years. "Running late. Work emergency. Start without me. Love you." She frowned slightly but quickly composed herself. Julian's architectural firm had been particularly demanding lately with a high-profile downtown project. His absences had become more frequent over the past few months, but she understood. They'd built their relationship on mutual support of each other's ambitions, and tonight she'd make sure he could relax and enjoy himself. "Is Julian still coming?" Daniela asked, noticing Olivia's expression. "Just running late. Nothing new there," Olivia replied, forcing cheerfulness into her voice. "He's been working on that Riverside Tower project. You know how it is." Daniela nodded, though something in her eyes suggested she wanted to say more. Instead, she handed Olivia a glass of champagne. "To the birthday girl. 30 looks incredible on you." Olivia accepted the glass, pushing away a nagging worry. She'd been dreaming about this night not just as a birthday celebration, but as a potential turning point in her relationship with Julian. They'd discussed marriage tentatively over the years, and lately she'd been dropping hints about wanting to move forward. Part of her had even fantasized that tonight might be the night he'd propose. The doorbell rang, interrupting her thoughts. Guests began arriving in 2s and 3s, colleagues from the publishing house where Olivia worked as an editor, friends from her yoga class, Julian's sister Bianca, and cousins from her mother's side. "Where's your man?" asked Thomas, Olivia's favorite co-worker, after giving her a warm hug. "Work emergency." "He'll be here soon," she repeated, the explanation beginning to sound hollow even to her own ears. As the apartment filled with laughter and conversation, Olivia found herself relaxing. These were her people, the support system she'd carefully cultivated over the years. Looking around at the smiling faces, she felt a surge of gratitude for the life she'd built. Her phone buzzed again. "Julian, on my way. Bringing someone. Important announcement." Olivia's heart quickened. An announcement? On her birthday? Could this be it? She pictured Julian arriving with a small velvet box, perhaps having coordinated with Daniela to make the moment special. "You look like you just won the lottery," Bianca said, appearing at Olivia's side with a plate of appetizers. Olivia couldn't suppress her smile. "Julian's on his way. He says he has an announcement." Bianca's expression flickered. Confusion? Concern? It passed so quickly Olivia couldn't be sure. "That sounds interesting," Bianca said carefully. "I'm sure it'll be a wonderful surprise." The doorbell rang again, and Olivia's heart leapt. She smoothed her emerald green dress, Julian's favorite color, on her, and made her way to the door, excitement building with each step. Tonight was going to be perfect. She could feel it. The announcement. The moment Julian stepped through the door, Olivia knew something was wrong. His smile seemed forced, his posture tense. But what truly froze her blood was the woman standing beside him, petite, blonde, and radiating nervous excitement. "Olivia." "Happy birthday," Julian greeted, kissing her cheek with awkward formality. "This is Rebecca. I wanted you to meet her tonight." Olivia extended her hand automatically, social graces taking over while her mind raced. "Nice to meet you, Rebecca." "Welcome to my party." Rebecca's handshake was firm, her smile apologetic. "I've heard so much about you." "Your apartment is beautiful." The room had quieted, guests sensing the sudden tension. Daniela appeared at Olivia's side, a silent pillar of support. "Can I get you both drinks?" Olivia asked, desperately clinging to her role as hostess. Julian cleared his throat. Actually, before that, I have something to share with everyone. He raised his voice, addressing the room. If I could have everyone's attention for a moment? The remaining conversations died away. All eyes turned to Julian, who now had his arm around Rebecca's waist. Olivia felt her stomach drop. I know this is unexpected, but I wanted to share some wonderful news with all of you, especially since so many of my friends are here tonight. Julian's voice carried across the suddenly silent room. Rebecca and I are engaged. The collective gasp was audible. Rebecca extended her left hand, revealing a glittering diamond ring. Julian continued speaking, something about fate and finding love when least expected, but the words turned to white noise in Olivia's ears. 4 years. 4 years of shared dreams, of building a life together, of supporting Julian through late nights and career uncertainties. 4 years of believing they were moving toward a future together. All of it, a lie. The room spun. Through the haze, Olivia registered the horrified expressions on her guests' faces. Bianca had covered her mouth in shock. Thomas was staring daggers at Julian. And Daniela, dear, loyal Daniela, had gone pale with fury. How long? The question escaped Olivia's lips before she could stop herself. Julian faltered. What? How long have you been seeing her? Olivia's voice was unnervingly calm, even to her own ears. Julian shifted uncomfortably. Olivia, maybe we should discuss this privately. No! The word hung in the air, firm and unyielding. You chose to make this announcement at my birthday party in front of my friends and family. So answer the question here, in front of everyone. Rebecca looked mortified, her fingers twisting anxiously around her purse strap. Julian swallowed hard. 8 months, he admitted finally. 8 months. While she had been planning this party, while she had been dropping hints about their future, while she had been loving him unconditionally, he had been building a life with someone else. The realization hit Olivia like a physical blow. She had been made a fool of, and now Julian had turned her birthday celebration into a stage for his betrayal. Whispers rippled through the room. Someone, perhaps Bianca, muttered unbelievable, loud enough for everyone to hear. Olivia felt dozens of sympathetic eyes on her, waiting for her reaction. Would she break down? Create a scene? Throw them both out? The weight of the moment pressed down on her. This was her birthday party, the celebration she had spent months planning. This was supposed to be her night, marking the beginning of her 30s with joy and possibility. And Julian had stolen it from her, transforming it into a moment that would forever be remembered for his cruelty. As the silence stretched painfully, something shifted within Olivia. A spark of defiance ignited, growing stronger with each passing second. Why should she let him destroy this night? Why should his betrayal become the defining moment of her celebration? Julian was watching her cautiously, perhaps expecting tears or recriminations. Rebecca looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her whole. The entire room held its breath, waiting for Olivia's response. In that pivotal moment, Olivia made a choice that would alter the trajectory of her life. She would not be a victim. She would not be pitied. This night would still be remembered, but not for Julian's betrayal. For her strength. Straightening her shoulders, Olivia took a deep breath, her mind clear and focused for the first time since Julian had walked through the door. The next few minutes would determine how this story was told for years to come, and Olivia was determined to control the narrative. Taking back control, well, Olivia said, her voice cutting through the excruciating silence. That was certainly unexpected. A hint of laughter, genuine, if slightly brittle, escaped her lips. Julian blinked, clearly thrown by her reaction. He had prepared for tears, for anger, for drama, not for this calm composure. I think, Olivia continued, addressing the room, rather than Julian directly, that this calls for another round of drinks. Thomas, would you mind? Thomas, recovering quickly, moved to the bar area with purposeful energy. On it. Olivia turned to Julian and Rebecca, her expression neutral but her eyes hard as flint. I'd like you both to leave now. Olivia, Julian began, but she cut him off with a raised hand. This is my birthday celebration, Julian. You've made your announcement. Congratulations on your engagement. Now please go. Rebecca tugged at Julian's arm, clearly eager to escape the situation. After a moment's hesitation, Julian nodded stiffly and allowed himself to be led to the door. The room remained silent as they departed, the soft click of the closing door sounding unnaturally loud in the stillness. For a heartbeat, nobody moved. Then Olivia turned to face her guests, a glass of champagne now in her hand. Daniela had pressed it there without her noticing. "I'd like to make a toast," Olivia announced, her voice stronger than she felt. "To unexpected plot twists." A ripple of nervous laughter spread through the room. Seeing their confusion, Olivia continued, "Life rarely goes according to plan. Tonight, I thought I was celebrating 30 years of life. Instead, I'm celebrating freedom from someone who clearly didn't deserve me." Daniela raised her glass first. "To Olivia's freedom!" "To freedom!" echoed the room, glasses lifting in solidarity. "And to new beginnings," Olivia added, feeling something shift inside her, a weight lifting, a door opening. "Because that's what tonight is really about. Not the end of something, but the beginning of everything else." The music, which had fallen silent during Julian's announcement, suddenly blared back to life. Daniela's doing. The upbeat rhythm seemed to break the spell of awkwardness, and gradually conversations resumed. Bianca approached Olivia, eyes glistening with tears. "I'm so sorry. I suspected something was wrong, but I never imagined—" "You knew?" Olivia asked, a crack appearing in her composure. Bianca shook her head vigorously. "Not about her. Just that Julian had been acting strange, canceling family dinners, being evasive about his schedule." "I should have said something." Olivia squeezed her hand. "It's not your fault. It's his loss, not mine." The words felt hollow as they left her mouth, but something about saying them aloud made them feel more true. She repeated them silently to herself. His loss, not mine. As the evening progressed, Olivia moved through her party with deliberate grace. She laughed at jokes, accepted hugs and words of support, and danced with abandon when Daniela pulled her to the makeshift dance floor in the center of her living room. "You're incredible," Thomas told her during a momentary pause in the music. "I don't know how you're doing this." "Neither do I," Olivia admitted quietly. But what was the alternative? Let him ruin my birthday? Let everyone leave remembering only how I was humiliated? "Most people would have thrown something at him," Thomas said with a small smile. "I considered it," Olivia replied, surprising herself with her honesty. "But then I thought, why waste good champagne on someone who isn't worth it?" Throughout the night, Olivia felt herself oscillating between genuine moments of joy and crushing waves of reality. During one particularly difficult moment, she escaped to her bathroom, closed the door, and allowed herself exactly 2 minutes of silent tears. Then she washed her face, reapplied her lipstick, and rejoined the party. By the time the last guests were leaving, the narrative of the evening had been entirely rewritten. What could have been remembered as the night Julian. Humiliated Olivia had become the night Olivia showed everyone what grace, under pressure, really means. As Daniela helped her clean up in the early hours of the morning, Olivia finally allowed herself to acknowledge the full weight of what had happened. "I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow," she confessed, collapsing onto her couch. "Or the day after that. How do I just—" "Continue?" Daniela sat beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "One day at a time. And you're not doing it alone. You have me. You have all of us." Olivia rested her head on her friend's shoulder, exhaustion finally overtaking her. "Promise me something?" "Anything. Promise me that someday this won't hurt so much." Daniela kissed the top of her head. "I promise. And I also promise that someday you'll look back and realize tonight was the beginning of something amazing." As sleep finally claimed her, Olivia held on to that promise like a lifeline. Tomorrow would be difficult. The day after, perhaps even more so. But tonight, she had reclaimed her dignity and her celebration. And that, she decided, was enough of a victory for now. Aftermath and growth. The morning after her birthday, Olivia woke to a phone flooded with messages. Some were concerned check-ins from party guests. Others were from people who hadn't even attended, but had somehow heard about the incident. News traveled fast in their social circle. "Ignore them all," Daniela advised over coffee. She had stayed the night sleeping on Olivia's couch rather than leaving her alone. "Take today for yourself," Olivia nodded gratefully. But one notification caught her eye. A message from Patricia Wellington, editor-in-chief of Modern Living magazine and a casual acquaintance who had been unable to attend the party. "Heard what happened last night. Impressed by your grace. Would love to discuss turning this experience into a feature for our Rising Above column. Call me if interested." Olivia showed the message to Daniela, who whistled. "Modern Living has 3 million readers. I can't write about this," Olivia protested. "It just happened. I haven't even processed it myself." "So don't write it yet," Daniela suggested. "But don't dismiss it either. Sometimes the universe offers strange gifts in the midst of chaos." The next few weeks passed in a blur of emotional extremes. Olivia took a week off work, using vacation days she'd been saving for a trip she and Julian had planned. She alternated between moments of fierce independence and crushing despair. She changed her locks, returned Julian's belongings, left in boxes with the building doorman, and blocked his number after receiving dozens of texts ranging from apologetic to defensive. "I never meant to hurt you," read his final message before the block. "You deserve someone who loves you completely. I couldn't be that person." "At least he got one thing right," Daniela commented when Olivia showed her the text. "You do deserve someone who loves you completely." Gradually, Olivia established a new routine. Morning runs in the park near her apartment. Evening classes in pottery, something she'd always wanted to try, but Julian had dismissed as messy and pointless. Weekends, spent reconnecting with friends she'd neglected while prioritizing her relationship. 6 weeks after her birthday, Olivia finally called Patricia Wellington. "I'm not sure what I have to say," she admitted during their coffee meeting. "I'm still figuring things out." Patricia studied her thoughtfully. "That's exactly what makes your story compelling, Olivia. It's not about having all the answers. It's about the journey of finding them." The resulting article, "The Party Where I Lost My Boyfriend and Found Myself," was published 2 months later. Olivia had written it herself, Patricia offering gentle guidance but insisting the voice remain authentically Olivia's. The response was overwhelming. Emails poured in from women, and some men, who had experienced similar betrayals and found hope in Olivia's perspective. "You turned humiliation into empowerment," wrote one reader. "I've been hiding from my own painful breakup for months. After reading your article, I finally went out with friends last night. Thank you for showing me it's possible to move forward," Patricia called with more good news. "The response has been phenomenal. We'd like to offer you a regular column, Olivia's View, a monthly exploration of resilience, relationships, and reinvention." It was an unexpected opportunity, completely separate from her day job in educational publishing. Olivia negotiated terms that would allow her to maintain both positions, at least initially. Her first official column coincided with another significant event: Julian and Rebecca's wedding announcement appearing in the local newspaper. Daniela had texted her a screenshot, followed immediately by, "Do not look at social media today. Come over for wine and reality TV instead." Olivia stared at the announcement. The pain was still there, but duller now, a bruise fading to yellow rather than a fresh wound. She declined Daniela's invitation, and instead spent the evening finalizing her column, titled "When Their Happy Ending Isn't Yours." 3 days later, her phone rang with an unfamiliar number. "Is this Olivia Rodriguez?" asked a woman's voice. "Speaking. This is Eleanor Hammond from WNBC. We read your column in Modern Living and would love to have you as a guest on our morning show. We're doing a segment on resilience after personal setbacks, and your perspective is exactly what we're looking for." Olivia's first instinct was to decline. Public speaking had never been her strong suit. Julian had always been the outgoing one in their relationship. But something stopped her from saying no immediately. "Can I think about it?" she asked instead. "Of course, but we'll need to know by Friday for next week's scheduling." After hanging up, Olivia sat in silence, considering the unexpected turn her life had taken. 6 months ago, she had been planning a birthday party and dreaming of a proposal from Julian. Now, she was being invited to speak on television about the strength she'd found in his betrayal. Life rarely goes according to plan. Her own words from that night echoed back to her. She had meant them as a brave front at the time, but now she recognized their truth. The path she was on wasn't the one she'd chosen, but perhaps it was leading somewhere worth going nonetheless. That evening, she called Eleanor Hammond back. "I'd be happy to be on your show," she said, her voice steady with newfound certainty. "I think I do have something to say after all." New Horizons. 18 months after her 30th birthday party, Olivia stood backstage at a women's empowerment conference in Chicago, reviewing her speaking notes one last time. The journey from that painful night to this moment still sometimes felt surreal. Her column in Modern Living had expanded to a weekly feature. Her television appearance had led to more invitations, radio shows, podcasts, and eventually speaking engagements. She had reluctantly hired an agent to help manage the increasing demands on her time while maintaining her publishing job, which she wasn't ready to abandon. 5 minutes. "Ms. Rodriguez," a stage assistant informed her. Olivia nodded, taking a deep breath to calm her nerves. Public speaking no longer terrified her as it once had, but addressing an audience of 800 women still triggered butterflies in her stomach. Her phone buzzed with a text from Daniela. "Knock 'em dead, superstar. We're all watching the live stream from New York." Smiling, Olivia tucked her phone away. Daniela remained her strongest supporter, along with a circle of friends who had stood by her through every step of her unexpected journey. As she waited for her introduction, Olivia reflected on the foundation she had launched 6 months earlier. New Chapter Collective, dedicated to helping women rebuild their lives after relationship trauma. What had begun as informal mentoring sessions with readers who reached out to her had evolved into structured workshops and support groups, now operating in 7 cities. And now, please welcome a woman whose personal story of resilience has inspired thousands. The founder of New Chapter Collective and author of the forthcoming book, Reclaiming Your Celebration, Olivia Rodriguez. Stepping onto the stage, Olivia was greeted by enthusiastic applause. The spotlight felt warm on her face as she approached the podium. "Thank you for that kind introduction," she began. 18 months ago, if anyone had told me I'd be standing here today, I would have laughed in disbelief. Back then, I was just a woman whose boyfriend had chosen her 30th birthday party as the perfect moment to announce his engagement to someone else. A ripple of sympathetic groans swept through the audience. "I know, right?" Olivia smiled. "Not my finest moment. But as I've come to learn, our lowest points don't define us. How we rise from them does." For the next 30 minutes, Olivia shared her story, not just the humiliation of that night, but the messy, non-linear process of healing that followed. The days she couldn't get out of bed, the small victories that gradually outnumbered the setbacks, the unexpected opportunities that emerged from her willingness to be vulnerable in public. "The most important lesson I've learned," she concluded, "is that resilience isn't about never falling apart. It's about trusting that you can put yourself back together, possibly in a new and better configuration. Every one of us has that power, even when it feels impossible to access." The standing ovation that followed her speech left Olivia momentarily speechless. As she made her way backstage, a conference organizer handed her a bottle of water. "That was incredible," the woman said. "There's someone who specifically asked to meet you. She's waiting in the green room if you're up for it." Olivia nodded, curious. The green room door opened to reveal a nervous-looking young woman with dark hair pulled into a ponytail. "Ms. Rodriguez, I'm Vanessa. I just wanted to thank you personally. Your story, it helped me leave a relationship that was destroying me. I didn't think I could start over at 35, but here I am." Olivia hugged her impulsively. "Call me Olivia, please. And 35? You're just getting started." After Vanessa left, Olivia checked her phone and found dozens of messages and social media notifications. Among them was a LinkedIn update that caught her attention. Julian Mercer had been let go from his architectural firm following the collapse of the Riverside Tower project, the same project he'd been working late on. During his affair with Rebecca, Olivia stared at the notification, surprised by her own lack of satisfaction at the news. There had been a time when she'd fantasized about Julian's downfall, about him realizing what he'd thrown away. Now it simply felt like information about a stranger, relevant only as a marker of how far she had come. Later that evening, as Olivia prepared for the conference dinner, her phone rang with a local Chicago number. "Is this Olivia Rodriguez?" asked a male voice. "Yes, speaking. This is Dr. William Harrison from Northwestern University's Department of Psychology. I attended your talk today and was impressed by the framework you've developed for post-relationship recovery. We're launching a research initiative on resilience factors in adults, and I'd love to discuss potential collaboration." By the time Olivia hung up, her mind was spinning with possibilities. An academic partnership would lend valuable credibility to her work, potentially expanding its reach to people who might never pick up a women's magazine or attend an empowerment conference. As she made her way to the hotel restaurant, Olivia spotted her reflection in a mirrored wall. She paused, studying the woman looking back at her, confident, purposeful, eyes bright with possibility. Hardly recognizable as the shell-shocked birthday girl from 18 months ago. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was an email notification from her literary agent. The advance copies of her book had arrived at her New York apartment. Perfect timing, Olivia murmured to herself. Her book tour would begin next month, taking her to 15 cities across the country. The journey she'd never planned was continuing to unfold in ways she couldn't have imagined. Entering the restaurant, Olivia was immediately greeted by conference attendees eager to share their own stories of resilience and reinvention. As she listened to each woman, offering encouragement and perspective, she felt a profound sense of gratitude. Julian's betrayal had been devastating. The pain had been real, the loss significant. But standing here now, surrounded by a community she had helped create, Olivia understood what Daniela had promised her that night. This truly had been the beginning of something amazing. Not the life she had expected. Not the celebration she had planned. But perhaps exactly the journey she was meant to take all along.